year 1965 when Prabhupada traveled from India to New York actually to spend various European countries. Sorry, South America, Africa, Russia, India, all the places, almost all the places in India, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Middle East, including Kuwait. So we are very, very fortunate that Maharaj, during this wonderful period of new programs, tomorrow we are celebrating the Vyas Puja Mahotsav, and day after again we have two programs. So let's welcome at Chintamani Dham. We're very grateful to Prabhuji, Sanatana Prabhuji and Krishna Mataji for always be very kind, allowing all of us, opening his house, the wonderful temple of Shri Radhanand Mohanji, wonderful darshan, and the wonderful hearing and chanting session here. So thank you, Prabhu, Sanatana Prabhuji Mataji. Let's welcome Maharaj by taking shelter of the holy name on time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. I request all of you to please put your mobile phone on silent mode so that without an interruption we can spend 1 hour or so with Maharaj. This Angostar, maybe that's Prabhuji's place actually. These some NGOs.
Yeah.
Angostar.
Oh, yeah, wala.
Yeah.
This is from Assam. This is called Gamusa.
Gamosa. Gamosa or samosa?
This can be used after.
Okay. Good. I enjoy both gamosa and samosa. Thank you, thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopi Janavala Bhagavardhari Gopi Janavala Bhagavardhari Gopi Janavala Bhagavardhari Gopi Yashodanandana Brajadana Yashodanandana Brajadana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavala Bhagavadari. Gopi Jana Vala Bhagavadari. Yashoda Nandana Brajana Randana. Yashoda Nandana Brajana Randana. Yashoda Nandana Brajana Randana. Yashoda Nandana Brajana Randana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. 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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda 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 Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda 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 Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari Govinda 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 Jaya. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Bolo, bolo.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad, Bharamahamsa, Parivrajikacharya Astatoshana Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charnarvinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad, Bharamahamsa, Parivrajikacharya Astatoshana Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Prem Supaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yagna ki jai. Brihat Mridanga Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Shri Shri Gaurani Tai ki jai. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Chaiva Narottama
Aram Chaiva Narottama Aram Chaiva Narottama
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jaya Mudiraya
Tato Jaya Mudiraye
Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya
Nanda Gopa Kumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Om Jnana Timrandasya
Om Ajnana Timirandasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Chakshur Unmilitam Jena
Chakshurunmilitam Yena
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Hare Krishna. So it is my great honor and pleasure to be here today. Do we require a Hindi translation perhaps? Would that be of benefit?
हिंदी अनुवाद चाहिए कितने लोग हैं जो अंग्रेजी भाषा नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं
दो लोग हैं अनुवाद हिंदी अनुवाद चाहिए जी ओके तीन लोग सो हो सकते हैं एक अनुवादक पीछे बैठेंगे और सभी लोग पीछे के साथ बैठेंगे कौन अनुवाद करेंगे थैंक यू प्रभु
जो हिंदी में सुनने वाले हैं पीछे बैठ सकते हैं बाकी लोग आगे आ जाइए प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड
कृपया माफ कीजिए मैं हिंदी बहुत खराब हूँ मैं थोड़ा हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स कोशिश कर रहा हूँ हिंदी और अंग्रेजी मिक्सिंग हिंदी इंग्लिश जय हो So सभी लोग सुस्वागतम. Thank you for coming. Special thanks to our host. I'm very happy being here and take this opportunity to wish everyone Happy New Year. Thank you so much. We say Shubh Subha, Shubh Kamna. That means year. Happy New Year. Yeah. Happy. We say Shubh Subha, Shubh Rat. So Shubh Sal. Right? Have an auspicious year. So I'd like to read one shlok from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 1, Ajay Do Shlok Das 1, 2, 10. And today our theme is simplicity. So this is a very nice shloka that illustrates the importance of simplicity. So कृपया आप सब मेरे साथ पीछे बोलिए. कामस्य नन्द्रिया प्रीतिः कामस्य नन्द्रिया प्रीतिः लाभो जीवेत यावथा लाभो जीवेत यावथा जीवस्य तत्त्व जिज्ञासा जीवस्य तत्त्व जिज्ञासा न तो यश्चेह कर्मभिः न तो यश्चेह कर्मभिः Kamasya of desires. Na, not. Indriya, senses. Pritihi, satisfaction. Labhaha, gain. Jiveta, self-preservation. Yavata, so much so, Jivasya, of the living being, Tattva, the absolute truth, Jignasa, inquiries, Na, not, Artaha, end, Yaha, Cha, Iha, whatsoever else. Karma bihi, by occupational activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Anurad. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Please repeat after me. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life for self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Translation and purport. The completely bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed towards the fulfillment of desires in sense gratification. In such civilization, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religion, or even in salvation, the very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly prominent. In the political field, the leaders of men fight with one another to fulfill their personal sense gratification. The voters adore the so-called leaders only when they promise sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense satisfaction, they dethrone the leaders. The leaders must always disappoint the voters by not satisfying their senses. The same is applicable in all other fields. No one is serious about the problems of life. Even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth and desire to commit spiritual suicide for sense gratification. But the Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. Because the body is made of senses, which also require a certain amount of satisfaction, there are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses. But the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. For example, marriage or the combination of a man with a woman is necessary for progeny, but it is not meant for sense enjoyment. In the absence of voluntary restraint, there is propaganda for family planning, but foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessary engagements in sense gratification, because the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of reaching the truth. In every sphere of life, therefore, and the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth. And that sort of engagement will make one happy, because he will be less engaged in varieties of sense gratification. And what the absolute truth is explained as follows. Kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jigyasya nartoyascheha karma bihi. Om Jnana Chinandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it is my great fortune and pleasure, मैं बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ, मैं आज मैं बहुत भाग्यशाली हूँ, because we're here in the association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastri Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That by association with devotees, we can attain all perfections. So this is great. Can I suggest translation can be a little bit quieter? Anuwad Torah, come, volume Torah, come. Dhanyawad. So today we're discussing this quality of simplicity. And the topic is developing simplicity, simple life, and Krishna conscious thinking. As Srila Prabhupada would say, simple living and high thinking. And what is high thinking? Krishna conscious thinking. That is high. So this is a very wonderful topic because this is anukul. This is favorable for Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami teaches us to accept everything favorable for Krishna consciousness. Anya vilasita shunyam, Anya vilasita shunyam, Jnana karma anavritam,
Jnana karma anavritam,
Anukulyena Krishnanu,
Anukulyena Krishnanu,
Shilanam Bhaktiruttama.
Shilam Bhaktiruttama.
So this is for cultivation of Uttam Bhakti, for the topmost process of Bhakti. Anyabilasita shunyam. That shunya, there should be zero, as we hear in today's Bhagavatam verse, sense gratification. Sense gratification is brought to zero, especially karma and jnana, anavritam. Karma means fruit of activities, trying to get some benefits, some fruits, so we can enjoy them as sense gratification. That is kicked out, that is condemned. And also jnana, in this case, jnana refers to the study of Veda for the purpose of impersonal liberation, to try to merge into the Brahma Jyoti, which is unfavorable because there's no seva in the Brahma Jyoti. In the Brahma Jyoti, we're just kind of checking our Facebook messages. You know, it's just we're just absorbed in our own selves, and we're not engaged in actively serving. And devotional service, bhakti, is the goal of our lives, because by bhakti we can understand Krishna, and by understanding Krishna, at the end of this life, hamara ant, जीवन की अंत वापस और एक बार ये भौतिक जगत नहीं करेंगे, चलो वैकुंठा. Go back to the spiritual world. Bhaktyamam avijananti, Bhaktyamam avijananti, Yavanyaschasmi tattvataha,
Yavanyaschasmi tattvataha,
Tatomam tattvato gyatva,
Tatomam tattvato gyatva,
Vishate tadanantaram, Vishate tadanantaram. Krishna says, 18th chapter, text number 55, 1855. Bhaktyamam abhichanati. That only by bhakti can one know me in truth. Keval bhakti, Krishna bol rahate, Me malo, yes, satyam, in truth, purna, completely. Only by bhakti can one know me in truth. And when one knows me in truth, one does not return to this material world, but Zawa Devachya Gawa, Chalo Vaikuntha, goes back to the spiritual world. So this is, it's very favorable, anukul, if we practice simplicity, simple living and high thinking. And this process of simple living and high thinking is one of the most important pillars of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. When Srila Prabhupada incorporated ISKCON in 1966 in New York, he listed 7 principles, which we have here, the 7 purposes of ISKCON. So we have a few copies of this. So let's hand this out, a few to the gents and a few to the Matajis. Can hand this back, the Matajis. So we're going to read these and also give one to Sanatan Prabhu. He looks quite interested. Please give one copy to Sanatan Prabhu. Kripaya ek copy Sanatan Prabhu dijiye, right? Kiriye. Okay. The vision of the Hare Krishna movement. The 7 purposes stated within ISKCON's Articles of Incorporation reveal Srila Prabhupada's vision for the society. 1. Do we have a second mic, by the way? Use for a mic, hey? Does it work? Try it. Yes. Okay, I'll read one, then we'll take volunteers to read the next ones. 1. To systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. Can I have a volunteer for 2?
To propagate a consciousness of Krishna as it is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Good. Number 3, someone can volunteer. Yeah, go ahead.
Bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to the Krishna, the prime entity, thus to develop the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of quality of Godhead, Krishna.
Question in the back. Could you hear him? No. Use the mic. Give him the mic, please.
To bring the members of society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus to develop the idea within the members and the humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of quality of Godhead, Krishna.
Jai ho, jai ho. Pass the mic. Can we have a volunteer? Number 4.
To teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name of God, as revealed in the teachings of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jai. Number 5.
To erect for the members and society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna.
Basically, constructing temples, erecting these places. Okay, number 6.
To bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life.
Now, I want to bring all of your attention, teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. So this is the focus of today's discussion. So this is purpose number 6. Purpose number 7.
With a view towards achieving the aforesaid mentioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings.
Yeah. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So this is basically a legal document This is part of the legal document when ISKCON was incorporated in 1966. 1966, Srila Prabhupada had just a tiny storefront. It was maybe 25% the size of this room, or at max 50% the size of this room. And he had maybe 20, 30 people coming. And then he decided to incorporate international society for Krishna consciousness. And devotees were saying, why? It's only us. But Srila Prabhupada had a vision. He was sitting one day on a park bench in Tompkins Square Park with Mr. Rubin, who he met there. Mr. Rubin was driving a local train. Who here has been to Mumbai? You've been to Mumbai? Have you seen the local trains? So Mr. Rubin, his job was that, subway driver in New York. So Mr. Rubin asked Srila Prabhupada, why are you doing this? What is your plan? And Srila Prabhupada said, I have thousands of disciples, shishas. I have hundreds of temples. I have thousands of books. The only thing between me and them is time. He had a vision. He knew that this was happening. So part of his vision was to teach a simpler way of life, that we could become closer to Krishna. Because when our life becomes too complicated, it becomes difficult to remember Krishna. And Lord Krishna himself describes in 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita, text number 65, that he says you should always remember me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto Madhyajimam namaskuru Mami vashasi satyam te Mami vashasi satyam Pratijane priyosime Manmana, he says, always remember me. But in the complicated industrial society, it's very difficult to remember Krishna. You see skyscrapers and subway cars. The expression is there, concrete jungle. We live in a concrete jungle. It's all concrete. Whereas just now I'm coming from Govardhan Eco Village in Maharashtra, just on the Gujarat border. And you hear the birds, tweet, 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 tweet. You see lakes and you see water, and Krishna says, I am the taste of water. You see the sun, you see the moon. Krishna says, I am the light of the sun and the moon. You see the cows. And we remember Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadachaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We remember Krishna through the cows. We have beautiful mandirs. And it's so easy to remember Krishna in such a beautiful, natural environment. You see, the Atma is present in every living entity, every blade of grass, every fish, every duck, every animal. So we remember Krishna. But when we live in this complicated society, we're constantly distracted by the weapons of mass distraction. Our social media, our advertisements, and constantly being enticed by the different advertisements. Your car is not good enough, you should upgrade. Your phone is not good enough, you should upgrade. Maybe your husband is not good enough, you should upgrade. So many distractions within the society today. It's really very, very difficult. So Srila Prabhupada is encouraging us from the very beginning, just as he knew he had disciples and temples and books, he knew that his followers would lead a simple way of life, simple living and high thinking. And thus he wanted to establish farm communities like New Vrindavan in West Virginia, USA. Srila Prabhupada established in maybe 1968, 69, very early. And he wanted self-sufficiency. The devotees should be able to live on the land, plow the field with the bulls, and get the milk from the cows, grow some grains, and they should not need anything from the outside society. So this is Srila Prabhupada's vision. And yes, it's hard work, especially if you're brought up like me in the concrete jungle. Suddenly to put me, milking a cow. I went to New Vrindavan in the year 2000 with Param Puja Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj told me, you can come with me on one condition. I said, what is that? He said, you have to milk the cows every day. So I had to learn cow milking. And it was a very wonderful experience for me. And I became closer to the cows, closer to nature, closer to a simple way of life, and closer to Krishna as a result. So here we are in Kanaya Desh, and one of the main commodities here, if I understand correctly, is oil and petrol. Is it correct? Yes. So many scientists, they say the oil and petrol will not last forever. Have you heard this? It's very likely. Many people hold this opinion. So if and when the oil and petrol run out, what will we do? Where will we go? And how will we move from place to place? So if we train the bulls, we can use Belgadi, right? I recently been tasked by ISKCON. I've been given the portfolio of being ISKCON's Padayatra minister. So Pada means to walk, and Yatra means festival. So early in the 1990s, I walked with a group of devotees. We walked through Holland, we walked through Belgium, we walked through France, we walked through Spain. And there's a walking Padayatra going on in India for the past 40 years. Chaliso, non-stop, from Kanyakumari to Badrinath and everywhere in between, distributing books, Bhagavad Gita, and distributing prasadam, and chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the Padayatra is pulled by a bullock cart, and we have deities of Gornitai in a temple we're pulling. Every morning, wake up, 3:30, 4 o'clock, take your bucket, take snan, put on cloth, tilak, and we have Mangalartik under the stars. It's so beautiful. And then walk all day long, chant all day long, distribute books and prasadam all day long, and then come to the next village and hopefully find some farmer's field who's willing to let us put our tents and then sleep, and then next day, same thing. So every day, different place. Wonderful, wonderful life. Really enjoyed a lot. And it said, if you have something good, then you want to share it with others. So I was in charge of Sankirtan and the book distribution and prasadam distribution. So we were making these ladus from coconut, dry coconut, and condensed milk. And during Bhagavatam class, we'd all be rolling ladus. So we're all giving these ladus out to everyone we met on the street, stopping on the road. So I wanted to make sure they were good, so that I could distribute them. So every day I'd eat at least 10, 12 of these ladus. And I can certify, yes, they were really good. So we distributed a lot of ladus, prasadam, and it's a wonderful life. There's a joy in simple living. When you live very simply, there's a certain, it's a higher taste. Param drisva navartate. It's better than the concrete jungle. And associating with the bulls, the first time, because we're every day walking with them, feeding them, being with them, they're so sattvic. You know, bulls, cows, so sattvic animals. And many times in ISKCON, I've stayed in goshalas, and like one bull will like climb up on the other bull, right? Have you seen that? He jumps up, puts his hands on the other bull, just like, he doesn't get upset. Here we're stopped at a stoplight, you know, the light turns green and you're checking your information, and then the guy behind you is like, he gets really upset. We have road rage in America, probably other places also. People get so angry on the road. But the bulls, you know, somebody jumps on them and they're just like, they're just so relaxed. I really wish I could be like that. Yeah? I mean, if you're walking along and somebody jumps on you, would you be so relaxed? I don't know, somehow they're so peaceful. So I really enjoyed living with them. And so the petrol may run out, and also there may be wars. So people are stockpiling nuclear weapons, different governments in Russia and America and China and India and everywhere, maybe even in Pakistan. Everywhere people are stockpiling nuclear weapons. So if you have something, usually you use it, right? Why keep something if you're not going to use it? So at some point, there may be some mistakes. Someone may pour some Coca-Cola into the computer, and the computer may get confused and start firing the nuclear weapons because of the bubbles or something in the Coca-Cola. And or someone may just get angry. Or there may be misunderstandings. Or we have Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsarya, Mud. All these 6 enemies are there. So anytime anyone can push that red button, get ready for firing. Yeah, so then where will the people go? The cities are going to may get destroyed. So then Srila Prabhupada wanted us to have farm communities. So if people needed a place to go, we could host them and feed them prasadam and give them shelter. So we want to cultivate facilities for simple living for our devotees and for society at large, because the devotee is very compassionate. Tatikshasva karunika suridam sarvadehinam ajata shatravat shanta sadhu bhushanaha. That the sadhu is so compassionate for others. Suridam sarvabhutanam. He's a surid, he's a friend of others. So out of his compassion, Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, our Param Guru, Samstapaka Acharya, our founder Acharya, he's asked us to provide this facility for all of society. So we get an inspiration from some great Vaishnavas in our tradition who are exhibiting simplicity. And one is Kolavechar Sridhar, a very dear associate of Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was living in Navadvip in extreme poverty. He had so little money. He was selling banana leaves, banana leaf cups, banana roots, and just getting just a few paisa or annas at that time. And 50% of his income he would use for Ganga Puja, for worshipping the Ganga. So he was living extremely, extremely simple. He lived in a simple kutir, a small thatched hut. And when it rained, the rain would come inside, but he didn't mind He had only one lota that he used for everything, just very few possessions, but he was happy. And he was happy and he had a great taste for chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was very devoted to Lord Chaitanya. And every day, little Nimai, he would come and ask him for banana leaves, banana cups. And then Nimai would tease him and say, your banana leaf cups are too expensive. You should give me a better deal. And he would argue with him, bringing the price down. And then finally, Nimai, he would say, actually, it's so expensive, I'm just going to take it. And he would grab the banana leaf cups and just run away with it. But Kolavetra Sridhar had so much affection for Nimai that he just really appreciated this. And then later, Lord Chaitanya gave Kolavetra Sridhar darshan of his form of Radha Krishna. He got darshan. And Kolavetra Sridhar had the opportunity during the Prakash Leela, to Mahaprakash, to ask him for a benediction. Lord Chaitanya said, ask any benediction you want. So if God asked you, ask anything you want. You have to think, what would you ask for? And what did Kolavetra Sridhar ask for? He just said, birth after birth after birth, may I have vision of you, Nimai, coming to steal my banana leaves. So this is Kolavetra Sridhar, so simple and so attached to the Lord, attached to the holy names, and not attached to anything material. So we should aspire for this mood. Param Drisva Nivartate, getting a higher taste for the spiritual things and giving up the lower material things. Vishaya Vinivartante, Niraharasya Dehinaha, Rasavarjam Rasopyasya, Param Drisva Nivartate. It is difficult to give up our taste for material things, but if we get a higher taste for spiritual things, then we can give up the lower tastes. That's why it's so important that we come together for satsanga and hear and chant, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and chant the holy names. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We also take inspiration from other great Vaishnava acharyas, like His Holiness Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Thakur Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada, he was living in Navadvip, and he had that mood of compassion. He wanted to save the conditioned souls, and he wanted to preach the mission of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prithivatayachayata Nagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Prachar Hoive Moranam, to spread the holy name. He said, first let me prepare myself. So, for 10 years, he sat in a tiny bhajan kutir every day chanting 3 lakhs of names, 192 rounds per day. He chants summer, winter, spring, fall, monsoon. And in the monsoon, he had holes in the roof of the kutir and the water would come in. So what he would do is he had an umbrella, chhatri. So he would sit inside with his chhatri, with his umbrella, and continue chanting. Because he didn't want to take big endeavor to fix the roof. So amazing. He's just focused on his chanting without material concerns. Now, I don't know if this roof ever leaks during the rainy season. No, probably not. There's no rain anyway. Right? But this is a wonderful source of inspiration that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is so detached. He was just absorbed in chanting. And after 10 years, he wrote a song, Vaishnava K, which teaches us that we should not imitate him, not to do this Nirjan Bhajan. That is not for us. We should come together, associate Vaishnava Sangha, and engage in the service of the Lord, especially in spreading the Lord's glories in the Sankirtan mission. And that's what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada did. He traveled to Calcutta. He began the Gaudiya Math at number 1 Uttadanga Junction Road. And then this mission spread all over this world. And we're part of that mission today. And one of the very important proponents and disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Srila Abhay Charna Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And he also was the epitome of simplicity. He was so simple. He was living at Radha Damodar Mandir in Vrindavan, translating Srimad Bhagavatam, cooking for himself, very simply, going for parikrama, bringing Jamuna water, taking bath in the hand pump. Very, very simple life. And then his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had ordered him to preach in the English language, go to the West. So he begged a ticket on the steamship Jaladuta, crossed the Atlantic Ocean, and visited Gopal and Sally Agarwal in, what's the name of the place? Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. Small town, Chotagaon. And he went to take bath. They have a washroom, and he had his lota, and they had a bathtub. You have a bathtub here? I know in your place there's a bathtub. Many places here they have bathtubs. But most of the devotees don't use them. Right? That's my perception. But in America, in Butler, Pennsylvania, that's how you take bath. You put in the plug, you fill up the bathtub with water, and underjaw, you go inside. You go inside. But Prabhupada didn't know that. So Prabhupada, he filled up the bathtub with water, and he sat outside the bathtub and took his lota, and the water is coming out from under the door. And Sally Agarwal is going, "What's going on, Swamiji? Are you okay?" And Srila Prabhupada is so simple. Then Srila Prabhupada was at 26 Second Avenue, and he was cooking for the devotees, the hippies, serving them, and then washing their plates, washing the pots. One day, one devotee named Keith, later Kirtanananda, he stayed back to see who was washing the pots. And it was Swamiji. Srila Prabhupada was washing the pots. He was advanced age in his 70s. This boy was a teenager. And then Keith, he said, "Can I help you wash the pots?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "I was just waiting for you to ask." Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is a wonderful topic, developing simplicity, simple life, Krishna conscious thinking. We discussed the 7 purposes of ISKCON today, and one of the most important ones in this connection was number 6, to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. We talked about the importance of farm communities, and the future of society. What will happen when the petrol runs out and the nuclear wars start? We discussed the wonderful example of Srila Kolavecha Sridhar, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada. So before we conclude, I'd like to ask if there are any comments or any questions, any discussion in this regard. Developing simplicity, simple life, and Krishna conscious thinking.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for this very apt lecture. In Krishna consciousness, time and again, there's always a talk about humility and simplicity. When we hear lectures, we really feel that yes, we have to be simple, we have to be humble. But once the lecture is over and when we step out into our car, we tend to forget what exactly simplicity means, what humility means. So how do we keep on reminding ourselves to be simple? And how I know that you're going to give another lecture about humility, but how do we keep reminding ourselves? Because simplicity is the way it starts from the way we think, the way we get inspired, and the way we act. So how do we cultivate that mindset of being simple all the time? If you can please, inspire us, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your nice question. I'm grateful to you. How to be simple all the time. So, there's a process called mananam. Mananam means to use the mind. And we should be chewing on what we hear and meditating upon what we hear. So after the class, then it's very important to have bodhayantas parasparam, to have discussions of these topics. It's not that the class is over, oh, that was a great class. What was it about? I don't remember, that happens. So we want to remember what was in the class. And the best way to remember what was in the class is to continue that discussion with our family members and friends. And that's called mananam, that we use our mind to bring up the topics of the class later on in the day, later on in the week, later on in the year, later on in our life. That we want to brainwash ourselves, that we're washing our brain by keeping these topics always circulating in the brain. I have a nice example of this that His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj always gives. Lokanath Swami Maharaj was born on a farm in Maharashtra near Pandharpur. He didn't ride in a car until he was 19 years old. And he was a farmer's son with his brothers, and they would take the bulls out to the fields and plow the fields. And he gives this example that when the bulls and the cows, they eat the grass, and then later the grass comes up again and they chew. And Maharaj does something like, he has some way of imitating how the bulls chew. Bulls and the cows chew. So we bring it up same way. We hear the katha, the Krishna katha, and then we bring it up again in our consciousness and chew on it again and again. So that process is called mananam. And this is what we should practice to always remain simple and always remain Krishna conscious. Does that answer your question? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. I just wanted to share something and just get your thoughts also on this idea that all the examples that you stated, especially of His Divine Grace and our Srila Prabhupada, Kolavecha Sridhar, I was just contemplating between simplistic lifestyle of devotees or Vaishnavas and simplistic lifestyle of others. Let's categorize them as materialists. So, for the sake of this discussion, it seems to me that people who are driven by higher purpose and objectives, they are automatically or naturally very, very simplistic, or they tend to simplify their lives to achieve that drive or to achieve that particular higher purpose in life, whether that be on the spiritual platform or material platform. So I just wanted to basically validate and check if this is the right thought process to have, to actually focus on a higher ambition and to have a higher aspiration. And simplistic lifestyle is a natural outcome of it, or whether actually simplifying our life should be a first outcome and a means to achieve that goal.
Thank you for your question. Let me see if I can paraphrase your question, if I can understand it correctly. So you're asking if we should strive for simplicity, and through simplicity come to Krishna consciousness, or is Krishna consciousness giving a byproduct of simplicity? Is simplicity a byproduct of Krishna consciousness? Is that your question?
Yes, Maharaj. A natural outcome of being Krishna conscious.
So the second part, is simplicity a natural outcome of Krishna consciousness? Yes. When we become Krishna conscious, then naturally simplicity will manifest. That jnana vairagya just automatically occur for someone who's Krishna consciousness, and simplicity will automatically occur. Then the first part of your question was that should we strive for simplicity first, and then by that simplicity will we come to Krishna consciousness? So not necessarily, because as you mentioned, some people are very simple, but they're not Krishna conscious. So the simplicity has to come to Krishna consciousness, otherwise it's incomplete. Otherwise we're very simple, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's just the 4 animal propensities. Or sometimes ISKCON devotees also do these things, but we mostly do eating, sleeping, meeting, and defending. So many meetings. I have so many meetings. Now it's interesting point that anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbande Krishna sambande yuktam vairagyam uchate. That simplicity doesn't mean not using material things in Krishna's service. Because Srila Prabhupada was once shown a picture of a Baba with a big pile of money, and the Baba is like pushing it away. And Srila Prabhupada said, you put that pile of money in front of me, I'll go like this. Now it's not that Srila Prabhupada is not simple, it's that he wants to use everything in Krishna's service. So even if we have the topmost technology and material facilities, if we use them in Krishna's service, then that's simplicity. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I also wanted to add my own personal experience that when the All India Padayatra was in the Ernakulam district in Kerala, that time His Holiness Rupa Raghunath Maharaj also was there. And somehow by the will of Providence, I also was a part of that Padayatra with His Grace Acharya Prabhu for around a month.
1 month you're on Padayatra.
Yes.
Wow.
So I think that was the most simplest part of my life ever. I can relate to that.
Can you share some of your experiences from that 1 month on Padayatra in Kerala? You walked from where to where?
We walked from the southern district of Ernakulam until the middle of Thrissur,
Okay.
which is Kerala.
How many kilometers?
Oh, it's more than 200 kilometers.
Okay, good.
We stayed in farms, we stayed in dilapidated schools, government offices, people's homes, old temples. I mean, it didn't matter. I used to sleep with the bulls. The bulls were almost like they had this vision which was so fatherly, so affectionate. they looked very, very magnanimous, like the descriptions of Krishna book when we hear about how they fight the bulls. They look like that, but their glance is so affectionate and loving. There was one bull called Narsimha, so he's not here anymore. But I used to sleep on Narsimha, and my service was to rub him and brush him and grass feed him, etc. And one very nice habit also we cultivated with that Padyatra was, we have a habit, because I can relate to them, so I almost say we. So in the Padyatra, when we used to have prasadam, we used to listen to Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. And yes, we used to do this laddu thing also. It was one of the most blissful times of my life. Nitai Gaur Sundar deities also are so beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. Hello. Yeah, my Padyatra experience was also one of the best times of my life. Chanting 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, distributing books, then sleep somewhere, anywhere, wake up, keep going. It's really nice. Anyone else would like to
It
share?
doesn't matter. The bodily requirements for that whole 1 month did not matter at all.
You need toothbrush, toothpaste, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Or Kuch, anyone else like to share anything?
Just one question, Maharaj.
Yes,
Maharaj, in between you discussed a bit about the farm communities like with Srila Prabhupada. Then we hear like Srila Prabhupada said like 50% of my just mission is to establish this farm communities.
He said 50% of my work is undone to establish Varnashram.
Yeah.
And then what is that Varnashram? It's subject to
So
discussion.
my question is, Maharaj, like at ISKCON, like we develop ourselves, like we have maybe 600, 700 temples all over the world. Then with this book distribution is also we do use all other things like we have, but this 50%, why even knowing also by everyone who are the follower of Srila Prabhupada, why they could not pick it and develop that? What you can tell about that?
So your question is why farm communities have not developed to the extent of book distribution, temple construction?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to be a matter of priority. That it seems that the leadership of ISKCON has prioritized the book distribution and prioritized the temple construction. And if they had made the farm communities a priority, then we would have more farm communities. We see that there are some individuals, some leaders in ISKCON encouraging making farm communities more of a priority. His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, I was told, will be visiting soon. And he's definitely a leader who's in favor of prioritizing farm communities, as well as many others. So I know I can share with you that I was sitting with the GBC several years ago, the Governing Body Commission, and a resolution was passed, and that resolution is still on the books. Is this an official resolution? That all ISKCON leaders should spend a minimum, I don't remember, it's 5% or 10% of their time on farm communities. Because someone who felt very strongly about farm communities wanted the leaders to give the time and attention to the farm communities. So one could argue, why only 5, 10%? Why not 20, 30, 40, 50%? But at least the principle is there that some attention is being given to more time and energy for farm communities in ISKCON. And if we do see something like the petroleum running out or some war, then automatically large percent of the attention will shift to the farm communities. So why it's not developed as much is because the priority is not there. But there is some movement to shift at least some of the energy, so that this develops more. I don't know, is this helpful for you? Yeah? Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj, for
Mike.
Thank you, Maharaj, for wonderful explanations about this important subject. Throughout our lives, Maharaj, we have lived in cities and families also. Almost everyone, relatives, everyone. So now, even if there is a desire to live a simple life, now simple life, I mean physically, because mentally, even if we are in city, we can have that simple life. But if you want to physically be in a farm community and be there, so bodily and the practical circumstances don't permit. So that desire remains a desire, Maharaj, at least for this lifetime. That's what I'm coming to. So can there be a way out of this?
Yes, let me first see if I can rephrase your question to make sure I understand it. That you're expressing a certain amount of maybe frustration or feeling that there's no hope, that I'm a city boy. I was brought up in the concrete jungle my whole life, and I'm accustomed to city ways, and when I go out the front door, there should be a supermarket nearby. And how could I possibly survive on a farm community? There's no hope in this lifetime. Has to be another lifetime. Is that what you're expressing?
Yes, even if desire is there, still circumstances are not permitting.
Even if I wanted to live on a farm, but due to different circumstances, circumstance means my conditioning, my experiences, and lack of skills in dealing with farm communities. It's a different skill set. So can a city boy survive on a farm? Right? That's basically the question. I'm an optimist personally. I'm an idealist. I think that if there's a will, there's a way. Right? Srila Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. So, keep it as an aspiration in your heart and pray to Lord Krishna and the Parampara that please empower me, that someday I too can experience the nectar of simplicity on farm life. You give it a try. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So I think we'll conclude here. And I just want to thank Sanatan Prabhu for hosting us. Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful. I really enjoyed my visit to the beautiful ashram here. And thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.